This isn't just Friday night under the lights. It's every early morning. Every rep, every ounce of sweat that built this team. We don't play for stats. We don't play for hype. We play for the man beside us, for the name on our chest, for the tradition we carry every time we step on this field. Behind us, a school, a city, a family. In front of us, 100 yards of purpose. Tonight, we don't just show up. We take over. No fear, no doubt. Just fire in our hearts and purple in our blood. We are Calvary. And this is our time.
Week 4 of the high school football season is upon us, and Calvary Day is 2-0, unblemished on the season. Welcome to Trailer Park Pizza Party with head football coach of your Calvary Day Cavaliers, Jason Cameron. I am Jeffrey Roberts, and coach, an emotional win back in Week 3 against OCA. We were sitting here a week ago. You said, hey, there are some things we have to do to beat a great Oceanside Collegiate team. You did that on Friday.
Yeah, we did. It felt, it was a marathon. I looked up and we were still in the first quarter at one point. It was resilience, to be honest with you. Our kids grew up. We talk about, the age of our kids. We have some young ones, and they grew up Friday. We jumped out 14-0 and they make it 14-14, and you kind of saw the momentum swing their way. Super proud of our kids by just kind of staying the course. Our coaches did a really good job of kind of just zeroing our kids in. And you heard multiple coaches on the sideline talking about not getting too high or not getting too low, because we knew we were going to be in for a dogfight all night. So, super proud of our kids. Well-earned win. Have some guys, banged up from it, but, super instant classic, I guess you could call it for Calvary.
Well, there's a lot to recap of the Oceanside Collegiate game, but first, let's set the scene for this Week 4 edition of the Calvary Coaches Show. Senior kicker Grady Shiver is here joining us, Coach Cameron and I. Special teams coordinator Alex Modicue is also going to join, as well as Calvary Day head of school Dr. Hunter Chadwick. All these guys are a very integral part of what happened on Friday. Let's talk about some of the historic stats a little bit. 108 combined points between the Landsharks and Cavaliers is the second most combined points ever in 533 Calvary Day football games, and 59 points for the Cavs is the 8th most ever scored. We talked about how dynamic your offense can be, even with its youth, and that showed on Friday.
Yeah, it's dynamic, but it's also versatile. A lot of people could touch the ball. We ran the ball well, we threw the ball well, and it's kind of like you watch film from the Oceanside game last year, and they kind of zeroed in on certain guys, and this year I think we had probably 6 guys that had 50 or more yards, guys with multiple touches, multiple carries, multiple catches. So, it's a tough when you're able to spread it around and you have unselfish guys that love their teammate. It's really difficult to prepare for.
Yeah. It starts with James Mobley, 18 of 29 for 317 yards and 2 touchdowns. We'll start with your starting quarterback, and then can you kind of branch into some of those guys? As you said, a half a dozen guys had really good touches.
Yeah, James is funny because he texted me on Saturday about how well he thought we could run the ball. That's just his character, But he had a great game for us. Some of our receivers made some great catches. He made some really, really good throws. We had a good plan coming into the game. He had a good grasp of the plan. And, like I said, when you look at James, it's just that's who he is. He's just calm. He has a calming feature for all of our guys, and they just feed off him. I've said it all the time. When James plays well, Calvary plays well.
Let's talk about the resilience aspect then. Okay, 14-0, you guys go up at the end of the first. It's tied at 14.
Yep.
Thanks to Grady, you guys are up by 3 at halftime. In that second half, you're trailing with just 7 minutes to play. You get a kick return for a touchdown and then a huge fumble recovery. Those swings, kind of generally speaking, how did you see you guys respond when that happened?
I'll bring it to halftime. We don't have emotional halftimes. We coach during halftime, and that's what we did. And we called a few guys out by name, and we told them that we trusted them and we believed in them. Sean Williams was one of them, a huge interception in the third quarter. Ty Pinckney was one of them, and a huge kick return touchdown. So, I just think that our guys, as long as they stay the course, we'll be completely fine. And it's, like you said, resilience. Like, resiliency is hard, especially in an up and down game like that. To stay the course and continue to fight was huge.
To prep against Oceanside Collegiate, it takes a lot from the coaching staff to the players. There's a couple guys that going into that game, you said they helped set us up for this win.
Yeah, 2 of them in particular, and they play on 2 different sides of the ball. Xavier Williams for us plays, scout team linebacker, did a phenomenal job of giving us a look. That number 9 from Oceanside was a pretty good player, and Xavier did a great job of kind of being him all week and preparing us for that. And Preston McBride, our sophomore quarterback, he did all of our 7-on-7s. He repped all of Oceanside's pass game. And if you ever watch Preston and come out Thursday and watch him play the quarterback position, he could sling a football. So he was our secondary is really, really prepared because of those 2 guys.
Well, when it's all said and done, we're going to talk about offense for this game. 532 total yards, 7 touchdowns. But you've said multiple times leading up to the coaches show today that the score of 49 points your defense gave up was not at all reflective of what you saw.
Not close. You hold a team under 40 yards rushing. First and foremost, in high school football, that's huge. And if the casual fan would look at the box score and say, man, they got torched. I don't believe so. Now, listen, Oceanside had some players, and they won some one-on-one matchups, which is going to happen. I think 3 plays particular that we just didn't tackle, and they all led to 50 or more yard touchdowns. So we talked about that in the league, saying that we couldn't get beat by the big play. And, for me, it was Calvary beating Calvary there because we just didn't tackle how we normally tackle. So I thought for defensively, we came up. Listen, it's funny how sports go, right? 49 points on the board, and defense wins us the game at the end. It's the same thing that we talk about, staying the course, and we played better defense than the score showed.
Yeah. So when you finish the game on Friday, there are some things you watch, but that's in preparation for down the line. What are your final thoughts? What are your final takeaways from this Oceanside Collegiate game?
It's probably the game that we put away the quickest, purposely. We have a huge region matchup against Southeast Bullock. 2 totally different football teams. You know what I'm saying? Like I've said it, air raid, sling it to a football in a phone booth. So we wanted to make sure that our kids still weren't riding too high. Sports is let's enjoy it Saturday. And as coaches, man, we're back to work on Sunday. Kids are back to work on Monday. So no one remembers Friday. It's over. Now it's come, on to Southeast Bullock to a huge region matchup. Like I said, arguably, in my opinion, the best team in the region.
Yeah. Well, all right, Coach. 59-49, Calvary Day moves to 2-0 on the young season. And the Coaches Show is far from over here on Wednesday, September 3rd. After the break, we have senior kicker Grady Shiver next on the Calvary Coaches Show.
2 in a row. Team that loves each other is hard to beat. And what happens, Phil? What happens? Even in that team, what wins? Culture.
Welcome back to the Calvary Coaches Show, live from Trailer Park Pizza Party on Habersham Street. Our first guest of the afternoon, a senior, a kicker, number 19, Grady Shiver. First and foremost, that's a very unique and fun position to have. Just how'd you get into kicking?
Well, I kicked in middle school, kicked in my middle school years, and I kind of was always good at it because I was a soccer kid growing up. So I was like, you know what, let's see if I can take it to the high school level. And I actually started football out for high school as an outside linebacker and a little bit tight end, but
Which we wish he still played.
He's got the size for it, too.
and then I started kicking, and I was like, you know, this is pretty cool, and I'm pretty good at it, so why not? Let's see how far I can take it.
Because soccer is number one for you, but also the number one sport maybe gave you some of the biggest trials of your young career to this point. January of 2024, you break your leg, just months before the start of training for the 2024 football season. What was that road? Tell me through, the recoup process. What did you learn about yourself?
It's hard. It's hard. Recovery is hard. I really wanted to prove to myself and to the people around me that like I could do it. I could get back to where I was. I get back to better than what I was. And even for soccer too, get back to play that next season the best that I could, the best of my ability. And it's just you do learn a lot about things about yourself, whether or not you want it or whether or not you want to do it. But it's hard. It's tough. It's long.
Coach, it's when it terms of special teams and kicking specifically, you either have it or you don't, and
Absolutely.
you're working for it. The confidence you have in your special teams unit with him kind of leading the way.
It's huge. I've been part of programs where our kickers wasn't very good, if I'm just being honest. So you look at Grady's stats just from Friday alone. Perfect on PATs, which is huge. A huge field goal right before the half from the left hash, 35 yards, not an easy kick. And the most important thing you think about is the amount of touchbacks. I believe we kicked off 9 times, and he had 7 touchbacks. So as putting your defensive hat on, every single time the team has to drive 80 yards for a touchdown. You don't have to tackle anybody on kickoff. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's such a huge. We put a lot of emphasis on it, but guys like him make it super easy.
When you trot him out there, or you're in a position where you need points to end that half, and if you get the points, that momentum swing is much bigger than if you're tied at 28. How does that change your halftime kind of viewpoint of the game.
Well, it changes play calling too, because at that point when you have Grady, I know that like I got 3 points in the bag. I don't want to do it. I told James we don't throw a pick here, we don't take a sack here, because we knew that we were probably get 3 points there. So having the confidence in him, it's the work that he puts in. He's selling himself short for how hard he had to work to get back. And we kind of have a thing. He kicks pregame and kind of tells me even like a distance. Like he probably would have went 40, 45 yards, and I felt really confident in it.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the journey to 2025. You share time as a kicker in 2024. What did working with Blake Williams do for you that now you kind of have the reins of that kicking game, just makes you happy to be out there?
I think honestly, it motivated me to do better because I was able to see that talent, and I give all credit to Blake. Blake is a very good kicker. And just to be able to see that and to be able to compete with that my junior year, going into senior year, I was like, you know what, let's see if I can be better than he could be, proving myself that I could be.
Yeah, and your situation may be a little more unique than some very talented football players. You're tabbed as a 4.5-star kicker, but you saying after this season, if that's the end of your football career, you're happy with that. How are you making the most of this season? Because you know that moving forward, life is more than the game of football.
Right. Yes, sir. I think this year I just want to be the best that I can be. I want to be the best kicker that I can be, and I want to have the best stats that I can have. I want to go out of college. Go out of high school knowing that I did my best at my position and I put it all out there.
When we talked this morning, I said, what's been the most influential part of your 4 years at Calvary? And Coach Cameron, this is now directed at you. He said his coaches, because he respects and appreciates the work you put into them, kind of on both sides of the coin. How do you see in him the work he puts in, and then to hear that from him, what does that mean?
Not a lot of times are kickers one of your leaders on your team. You know what I'm trying to say? And if you watch him, I know we joked before, watch him in the weight room. You know what I'm saying? This guy pushes some weight. He works just as hard as our running backs, linebacker type kids. And our kids notice that. They won't admit it, but they had noticed it. And his teammates have the same exact confidence in him as we have. But the best thing that he does is in our hallways. He's a 4.0 student, probably 4.0 plus. So even if kicking is so minor for him, this kid's going to go to a huge school and be so successful because what he's done in the hallways his entire life. He's a perfect student. Yeah. He's a multi-sport athlete. So he's exactly what you want in the locker room.
Yeah, well, Grady, it's a long season. We're at the 20% mark of the regular season games. This is your senior year. It's a special year. What would you say some of your goals are? What do you hope that by December and January you can look back on your one senior season and say, I'm proud of that?
I want to kick some bombs, man. I want to go out there. I want to go out there, hopefully make a long field goal and just have some bomb touchbacks and be able to do that for the team as well. Put my team in that position, win a game off of that with touchbacks. Be able to go out there and know, defense on kick return doesn't have to do anything. So it's a good feeling. Yeah.
Well, if you're part of the Calvary community, be happy that you have this guy sending bombs into the end zone and through the uprights for the rest of the season. Grady, appreciate the time. Coach, looks like you have anything for us before we head out?
Listen, I'm excited. Like I said, just talking. Last thing about Grady is just like I said before is things that go unnoticed about him is just that overall leadership. I think it's amazing when I could put him as a captain on a Friday night and our guys aren't looking like the kicker. You know what I'm trying to say? Which most programs they'll be kind of looking. No, it's just Grady, man. They see the work he puts in and they love having him a teammate.
Well, appreciate the time, Grady. Coming up next on the Calvary Coaches Show, it's a coach that probably works a little closer to Grady. It's special teams coordinator Alex Modicue next on the Calvary Coaches Show.
Hey, Calvary family. My name is Mason Gaylord, and I serve as a spiritual life prefect. From September 2nd through the 5th, we will celebrate one of the most meaningful traditions we have here at Calvary, Spiritual Emphasis Week. This is a special time set aside each year for our whole school to pause from our normal school routine and come together for worship, teaching, and community centered on God's Word. This year, our theme comes from Matthew 5:13-14, where Christ says, "You are the salt of the earth, you are the light of the world." We believe God is calling each and every one of us, students, teachers, and families, to live out this truth daily, to shine His light in the places He's put us, and to impact our world for Him. Parents and alumni, we invite you to join us. We are so excited to see how God moves during this special week, and we would love for you to be praying with us, that hearts will be open and that lives will be changed. Thank you for being such an important part of what God is doing here at Calvary.
Welcome back inside the Calvary Coaches Show, week 4 of the high school football season. Our next guest, special teams coordinator of the Cavaliers, Alex Modicue, a face that a lot of people around campus recognize as a security kind of staffer, but he's a very important role this football team, Coach. How'd you fall into the role of special teams coordinator under Coach Cameron?
Yeah, so I've been on the staff about going on my 6th year. Started with Coach Stroud. I'm the director of campus safety and security here as well. Coach Cameron came in. He took a chance on me to be a coordinator this year. I'm super excited about it, that he believes in me. I'm honored, and just get the ball rolling.
From your roles in the coaching staff over the last 5 years, how have you seen yourself grow in just the early going of this season?
Yeah, I mean, I've been around some really good players, and I've been around some really, really, really good coaches, right? So, I mean, like, a lot of great coaches. So I just soak it all in. Like, I've soaked it. I became better. I've learned different things. I've worked on my weaknesses and tried to make them my strengths. And I've learned everything I can learn from these great historical coaches we've had at Calvary Day School.
What'd you see in him? When you made that call or that text, you saw him on campus, what was the conversation like? How easy was it?
He's a great leader. He's a great motivator, too. So my thing is, and, we talk about the importance of special teams, and that's a third of the game. So I don't take it lightly. That's not just throwing him, a bone or nothing. That's an important position. I told him that, we take it really seriously. He preps it every single week in our Sunday meetings. Introduces kind of a game plan for it, and he exactly what he said is true. Coach Modicue is like a sponge. He lives with Coach Chumley all the time. That's a great person to learn from. He's one of the best coaches in the state of Georgia. So it's he's humble. For him to say that is just super humbling, and he's just going to continue to grow and grow. And you've seen our special teams have already been very, very impactful early on in the season.
Well, a little background of Coach Modicue here. He was a career military member, 22 years, deployed more than a half dozen times overseas. You said that the military and coaching and being around the family environment that this is, there are similarities, and because of your background, you're better for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I Coach Cameron, we always kind of joke about it. It's like I tell him stories, I tell the kids stories. Like, that was kind of tough. These things that we're doing right now is not tough. Like, and you got to have faith in different things of, and making yourself better. Like, and the military just made me who the man I am today. You know, like, and that's what I try to inflict back to the kids and give back.
One of the first things you did after moving to Pooler, you helped start a youth organization. Where did that kind of idea come from, and how has that influenced you up to today?
Yeah, so when I was in the transition about to get ready to retire out, I was stationed in Hawaii, right? So it was a pretty good duty station. My wife was here in Pooler. Pooler was growing, and I decided, I said, you know, I want something therapeutic. I want to give back. I mean, I come from a single parent home. Coaches have given back to me all my life, and I thought that's what I wanted to do too, right? So I took that upon myself to do that. I started a youth organization in Pooler, Georgia. We did that for like 6 years, 5 or 6 years. I got a lot of kids that are at Calvary now because of it, and we just wanted to just grow them in. We just wanted to give back to them and just do that. And from there, I coached at Islands, and I went to New Hampshire High School, and Coach Chad Griffin reached out to me about coming to Calvary Day School, and I had daughters as well, so I decided it was a good place for me, and Calvary's been my home ever since.
It's a really important role, an assistant coach, and just coaching in general as mentors. You played college football at Albany State, and that didn't go the way you were hoping. How do you feel like you draw on your past experiences to help the youth now, and maybe understand that where they're coming from, that not every household is as stable as we'd hope?
Yeah, like when I went to college, I was you know, kind of highly recruited out of Columbus, Georgia, running back, and went out and I didn't do some things right. So that helped me have self-preservation for myself. It made me think about things, how I could get better, how I could do things better. Then I decided to say, hey, I wasn't going to just go back to Columbus and not do anything. So I decided to go and join the Army, you know, be uncomfortable, and I did that, right? And I think that made me who I am today. All my values and everything that I learned from there, the attention to details, and I want to give that back to the kids and becoming my faith and everything, and I want to give that back. So.
Coach Cameron, why is it important to have men on your staff that have been there, have lived it, and that truly when they're practicing what they preach because they've lived it?
Yeah, I think kids of today, even more than we were kids, they kind of could read through fake. And like these guys himself, Coach Cheatham was on last week. They're not fake. They're giving real world stories. You know, back in the day, I'd listen to anything my coach said because he said it. You know, and kids are just different today, and they want to know the why part of it. And having guys like Coach Modicue, you know, said he's a master motivator. He could get guys to run through the wall for him. He also coached our running backs, and if you watch our running back room, they're super strong. You know, we got Braxton Bell hurt now, but you know, you put Zay Middleton in the game in the fourth quarter and with fresh legs, and the kid busts out for 56 yards on 6 carries. It's a testament to him and what he does in his room. So you know, I love surrounding myself with people like him that have true life stories and are master motivators of kids.
Yeah. Well, back on the field, Coach. Goals for this season. When you got the role and you say, you know, this is my unit. I'm the head of this. You know, what'd you set for yourself? How did you see it playing out, and how is it coming to fruition?
So when Coach Cam came to me about it, I really wasn't focused on that. He came to me about it, and I've always been helping and assisting him on offense. But he came to me about it and said he really wanted me to be able to do this. He felt confident in me, and I said, I want to make sure. I mean, our special teams has always been good, right? It's always been good. We wanted to make it to a high level. We've been preaching culture. Like that's one thing that Coach Cam and all of us have been preaching to the guys, culture. And we want to be able to, every day that's the thing, we got to create the culture, we got to maintain it, and we got to protect it. Not just on the field, it's off the field as well. So special teams, we want to make sure we're super proficient. We want to be special, right? We want to be special, and we want to have guys that are not just only, you know, capable, but are willing to want to go do that. And you've seen that Friday night. We had guys that were willing to want to go do that. Grady was one of them, of course. A lot of guys running down, punt team, PAT, all that little stuff matters, and that could get you beat in the ball game.
In a game like Oceanside Collegiate, special teams makes the difference. It can help make the difference. We had Grady on in the last block. Just a little bit about him as your kicker. The confidence level when you trot him out.
Yeah, listen, his confidence is above reproach right now. Last year, he had another kicker with him, Blake, and they were back and forth, and he had an injury. But listen, he attacks the weight room great. He's great in the classroom. He's great for our younger kids. I mean, our younger kicker now is learning from him now. Just today, I seen him out there working with him, not being asked, you know, just doing stuff when you don't have to be asked to totally do stuff. And he's a great kid, comes from a great family, and we're just blessed to have him.
Well, 2 days away from a game at Southeast Bullock. What's the game plan on your side of things?
hey, we want to make sure that we be special on special teams, right? We want to make sure that we don't win or lose a game, or maybe we can win a game on special teams. And that's what we want to be able to do. We want the kids to be able to be relentless. That's what we talked about in the classroom, on the field, and everything that we do. So we want to be special on special teams.
Well, Coach, we appreciate the time as always. Thanks for coming on the Calvary Coaches
guys.
Show. Coming up next, it's the head of school at Calvary Day, Dr. Hunter Chadwick. Next after this. Welcome back inside the Calvary Coaches Show, live from Trailer Park Pizza Party on Habersham Street in Savannah. We're joined by head of school of Calvary Day, Dr. Hunter Chadwick. First of all, thanks for taking the time to do this. I really, really appreciate it. I've been telling you all day. You've been at Calvary now for several years. Just what's it been like? I know it's a very general question, but just how has your journey been here?
I didn't grow up a Calvary guy. I grew up in Savannah, knew of the school, knew of the church. It's always had a great reputation. It always produced really good people. All the kids that I knew that were my age were all good kids. They're a lot better people than I was at that age. And so when I had the opportunity to come back to Savannah and come to Calvary, it was an opportunity that you just couldn't turn down.
And the pillars of Calvary Day are in place, but how did you see what those pillars are and try and mend it into Dr. Chadwick's way with you at the leadership position?
Yeah, Calvary's a great school. It was a great school before me. It'll be a great school after me. I think the greatest part of coming into a school like Calvary that's already established is seeing the things that are running really, really well and leaving those alone, and then taking the things that maybe could maybe could use a tweak here and there, and to make it even better, and to bring in people and build a team and a culture at the school that just trying to takes it to the next level.
You have a long history in education. What's been the most influential and maybe surprising part of this half decade or so of you in this position?
The surprising thing is, I think the adults change, how we interact with our children, how we deal with our children might change, but the kids don't change. I still find that anytime I feel run down or feel not as energized as I want to be, I get re-energized by being around the kids of all the different ages. But being here, what I'm most impressed about Calvary is just the community and how much people love the school.
And it's very relationship based, and someone that made a lot of relationships that we saw a transition over the last year is Mark Stroud. He was your head football coach when you started, a long history, a lot of wins. He transitions and kind of passes the baton to Coach Cameron, but you are working potentially even closer with him now than you did. Talk about Stroud and his influence on the athletic department as a whole at Calvary that you've seen.
Coach Stroud, he coached a lot of games, a lot of years, won a lot of games. And I'm sure from people on the outside that don't know, they see Mark Stroud for all the success he had on the field. I see all the success he had that don't have wins and losses in them. The influence he had on kids, the influence he had on fellow coaches. Mark Stroud is a great coach, but he's an even better man. Yeah. And now he's transitioned into being an athletic director. Listen, I have no idea how long Coach Stroud plans on being the athletic director. But if there was one thing that I've done at Calvary that I believe that is a huge difference maker and just a guy who has found a new life in something, is watching Coach Stroud run our athletic department.
And he passes the baton to someone in Coach Cameron that he had on his staff for a couple years through faith, through mentorship. Why is Coach Cameron the right head coach of the Cavaliers?
We could have very easily asked Coach Stroud, hey, when do you want to call it quits? And then made a plan to post the job, and we would have had a lot of people apply for the job. It's a pretty sought after gig. We were just blessed in the fact that Coach Cameron became available to us to come, join Mark's staff. And I think right away we saw that he was a guy that could be the next man up. I think he has a lot of the same qualities in him that Mark had, just trying to surround himself with great coaches and great people. I don't think that Jason, I don't think he desires to be the smartest coach in the room all the time, but I think he desires to surround himself with really great coaches. And people who do that tend to have a lot of success. And so I think we're seeing the fruit of that already.
And you saw his team win the race it felt like a race on Friday. You were on the track, an environment like that in a game where 108 points were scored. When you look at it from a broad picture and say, I'm the head of school of this, how proud are you to see that result?
Yeah, we before I got to Calvary, it was already known as a school with great athletics. And I think we want to be known as a Christian school. We want to be known as a Christian college prep school. And we want to be known for having great athletics and great fine arts. And we're willing to double down on that and say, hey, if you think we were good before, just wait. And so we're always trying to hire high quality people to coach our programs. We're always eager to raise the bar. And he's helped raise the bar. Friday night is an example of that. To be really honest with you, there are many times on Friday night I couldn't even tell you who we're playing. I'm just not as engaged in the day-to-day of what these guys are doing. I trust the athletic department and trust the coaches. I will say this. I am engaged with the outcome. Our goal is to win. Jason knows that. All of our coaches know that. Our goal is to play well. Our goal is to win. And I think we want to honor God and all that we do inside the classroom and outside the classroom.
Well, fall means football season, but it also means the start to a new school year. This time of year, why do you love it so much?
You know, there's always a transition in new families. The great thing about sports and the great thing about schools is that you get a new season every year. So we go to school for about 9 or 10 months, and then we get a new season, a new school year, and it's a fresh start. And so, you know, you have the sad day of saying goodbye to seniors, and you have the exciting day of kicking off a new school year. And I'm excited this school year. Our school is in a good spot. We're in a really good spot in so many ways. We have great teachers who are raising the bar inside the classroom each and every day and are building relationships with our kids. And ultimately, I think everybody's marching towards that goal of leading our kids towards an internal impact.
Yeah, it's an exciting time of year, Dr. Chadwick, and we appreciate you being on the Coaches Show.
Thank you for
When we
having me.
come back, next up, it's Southeast Bullock. Coach Cameron and I break it down before the third game of the year for the Cavaliers. The Coaches Show. We'll be right back. Well, in just about 48 hours, Coach Cameron and the Cavaliers will be loading up the buses and on their way to Brooklet to face the Yellow Jackets of Southeast Bullock. The Yellow Jackets are 1-1 through 2 games. They lost to Statesboro, and then they beat Islands. Coach, the preparation for this game, it's a run-heavy offense. I love the way you put it. They run their offense in a phone booth.
Oh, yeah.
That is a complete 180 than what you saw against the Landsharks.
Yeah, and they're really, really good at it. They have a lot of layers to their offense within their run-heavy scheme, and they try to knock you off the ball. They're probably as physical and just nasty of an offensive line as you're going to face all season. They're good, like I said, they're good at what they have a right tackle that's committed to Alabama. They return the region offensive player of the year as their running back, who's a really, really good player, quarterback that just runs their system super well. And they just keep throwing backs back there that they all look, 6 foot 220. They're just big kids, and they're they're strong physical kids. They Coach Zito does a really, really good job. They made a run, I believe, to the quarterfinals last year, and return a good majority of their team. So it's a really, really good football team. I've had some experience playing at Southeast Bullock, so it's a really great atmosphere. It's kind of got that country feel to it. The city shuts down a little bit and comes watch Southeast Bullock. So it should be a great game, and it should be a really, really cool atmosphere.
You mentioned they made a run. It was the first time they had made a run that deep in the playoffs in decades. So the community has really rallied around the Yellow Jackets more than they have in past years. An environment like that, as you said, you look from the home bleachers out, and it's just farmland.
Yeah.
That is good South Georgia football.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys are kind of going the belly of the beast of that. How does the talent on the field in that environment give a little more juice to it?
Yeah, it gives a lot of juice to it. You come to our home games and you see it, our community comes up, and it just gives you that little just a little extra. So their experience in that I'm sure will travel well. But it's like I said, I've played there before. It's a cool atmosphere. It's like you said, it's definitely that country feel. It's kind of a school and a football field, and not a whole lot around it. So it's a cool feel. They embrace it. I think it's who they are, and they play good physical South Georgia football.
Defensively, you changed the game plan this week, but offensively, coming off an Oceanside game where you put up so many touchdowns, what changes, what stays the same against the Southeast Bullock defense?
See, it's funny that nothing changes because it's you still want it. We need to take care of the football. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes Southeast Bullock's best defense is their offense because they hold the ball so long. They're just so good at it. And they're really, really good defensively too. They tackle well. They're physical up front. They got really good linebacker play. Good DBs. Adrian Peterson's son is one of their DBs, a great athlete. So it's offensively, we want to continue to progress. We want to continue to add layers, kind of little tweaks to what we've already done. But most importantly, we want to take care of the football, being able to establish the run, and play Calvary football.
Yeah. Well, it's week 4 of the high school football season, game 3 for your Cavaliers. Coach, any final thoughts just about 48 hours before kick?
Oh, no, I'm just, super excited. I'm glad, Friday was great. On to the next one, region play. Our region is really, really strong. And like I said, Southeast Bullock is one of the better teams in the region. You got Jenkins, you got Long County, you got Liberty County. You got these teams that are really, really good, and Southeast Bullock's just up there with all of them. So I'm expecting a great contest on Friday. Our region is a lot stronger than people give credit for.
Well, the Cavs look to stay unblemished and move to 3-0 against the Yellow Jackets. Kickoff in Brooklet is scheduled for 7:30 p.m. Be on the lookout for the Calvary Athletics social media pages. We will have all information regarding tickets, bags, you name it. That'll be on the Calvary Athletics social media page by tomorrow evening for you at home to be able to get ready for Friday night. For head football coach of the Cavaliers, Jason Cameron, I'm Jeffrey Roberts. Thanks so much for watching the Calvary Coaches Show.